Just waiting notifications there. Here we go. Boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning into a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have an incredible guest with us today, Brother Jamaal Muhammad, who's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration. First of all, assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam, brother.
This means a lot to myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast that you would take time out of your busy schedule to come have a conversation with us.
Thank you, Brother Joshua. It's an honor and pleasure to be here, and I thank you for taking time out of your schedule or in your schedule to have me as a guest on the People's Podcast. Thank you, brother.
Oh, praise to Allah. Yes, sir. Now, Brother Jamaal, the first question that we want to know is, when did you first hear the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad?
Okay, so I grew up in a neighborhood in Chicago called Hyde Park, like starting in 8th grade, and so like 2 blocks from the palace. So just being in the neighborhood, I would always see the brothers. I went to high school with Brother Daniel, who would always in high school talk about the teachings, and I grew up with brothers like Amzai, Abnar, and so that was just in the community, that was in my environment. I would listen to the minister on AM 1390, I think it was, in my late teens. So every Sunday, I would be excited to hear the minister on AM 1390, and I maybe was like 18, 19 years old, somewhere in there. And then 2 houses down from me was a brother that was a Muslim that would attend the Masjid Al-Fatih on 47th Street. So that combination, and then, every so often we would see the minister driving, in his car, or every night, and be excited about that. So that's kind of how I got introduced to the environment, or to the teachings directly from the radio station. Well, I eventually moved, when I got out of high school, I moved to Texas, in Houston, and I went to Texas Southern University. And while at Texas Southern University, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was on Arsenio Hall. And me and about 3 or 4 brothers, it was like 5% brothers, they came all to my house, my little apartment, and we watched the minister. And the minister, that particular episode of Arsenio Hall, I shed a tear. Now the brothers next to me, they didn't know I was shedding no tears, but I had shed a tear because he talked so strongly about Black people and wanting to, and obviously affecting change in the Black community. So that was touching to me. Well, lo and behold, that same year the following year was the starting to expose or market the Million Man March. So the minister came to a church in Houston. This is 1994 or somewhere in there, 93, 94.
Yes, sir.
To promote the Million Man March. And I think that was his 3rd or 2nd stop in Texas, in Houston, and 35,000 people showed up. We were there early. I was there like in the 3rd row. And after that, man, I came back to Chicago and started processing. The rest was history. Absolutely.
Oh, praise to Allah. Excellent. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, great. And once you came back to Chicago and started processing, how did your family and friends feel about you accepting the teachings?
Well, Brother Josh, I never really had any barriers with joining the Nation of Islam. I never had any barriers because prior to that, I'm not going to claim that I was, this, extra street guy, but I was involved with things that was, not, progressing me. And so when I started to listen to the minister in my mother's house on AM 1390, that was positive, right? That was positive. When I was, when I would go to study group on Fridays, that was positive. So where we from, it's kind of normal. When I say 2 blocks from the palace, it's literally. So I live in Hyde Park. You're familiar with
Yes,
Chicago. So that community, that's kind of normal. You obviously see the brothers on 53rd selling final calls and all that. So it wasn't really a barrier for me. It wasn't a barrier for my family or anything of that. It was actually promoted because prior to, I was going in a wrong direction. And then they started to see me going in the right direction once I started to get the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Yes, sir. And people are showing you love. My sister Naima says assalamu alaikum. And thank everyone who continues to like, share, subscribe all across the country. And once we put this on YouTube, please let us know what city you all are watching as well. Now, once you join the ranks, who trains you, sir? What's the climate like in Chicago, and like who's training you? Like, walk us through, please.
I mean, I had I come up under Brother Anthony, so I was doing like that. Brother Anthony, I think, was the first officer at that time. Brother Anthony. So I come directly under Anthony Muhammad, and all of the brothers at that time. I got so many brothers in my head, but it was a Brother Anthony who made a very, very impact on my life as the first officer at that time. And, just going to FOI class and just, soldiering and just doing what was instructed of me to do. So I come up under Brother Anthony. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir. And in the 90s, did you get a chance to see the minister in Chicago? Did you ever get to see him while you were in Chicago?
Yes. So, brother, there's a lot of stories that I wouldn't say because people probably wouldn't believe, hence, who the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is. But at this particular time, there was times when it's just crazy. There was times when I saw the minister driving and I'm like driving, like trying to like chase him down. I mean, not chase him down, but like just trying to get on the side of his car and look at him, things like that. That was just in general. But when when I'm soldiering and I'm doing what I'm supposed to do and I'm attempting to be a good FOI, I started to do some driving. Brother Richard, tossed me the keys one time and said, start driving. And then there was times when we were in Indiana. I remember one time we were in Indiana and I think it was Indianapolis. And, it was a very, secured climate. I remember seeing like sheriffs on the roofs. And we were all in ranks protecting the minister. And when the minister was about to get on the bus, right at the door of the mouth of the bus, I was right there. And he paused for a moment. And that was just a memorable moment. So I could go on and on with moments. There was moments when the minister came to FOI class and we were in ranks and in class A, and he made a gesture or said something to me relatively to my alignment in ranks. I mean, there's a lot of small moments for me and the way we view the minister that I would never forget because they were personal moments for me. Picking them up. This is prior to the way they have the airports now. Picking them up in the airport and falling into the diamond and jumping in cars and all these things is just memorable moments for me that I'll never forget with my own personal not interaction with him directly, but close proximity, just all of those types of things are very, very memorable to me.
All praise due to Allah. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And my sister Miriam says, "Assalamu alaikum." People are showing you love all across the country.
I grew up with Miriam.
Sir?
I grew up with Miriam.
Okay, great. Praise be to Allah. Okay, so now the Million Man March. What was the climate like leading up to the Million Man March, and how did it personally impact you?
Once again, I lived in Houston, so I said from the onset, I lived in Texas at that time as I was, going to college, and the climate was, you would just hear all the chatters about the Million Man March, and I was following the all of the preliminary stuff, but getting to the Million Man March was a very, very memorable moment for me. I had a job. I tell you the story. I had a job working at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and they would let us get the cars on the weekend, and so, but they didn't expect you to, go out of town in their cars. So I had already told some of the people at the job that I was going to go to the Million Man March, and there was murmurs inside the Enterprise on North Avenue, like, well, you shouldn't go. Well, that wasn't going to stop me. So anyhow, I took their car and about 3 or 4 brothers, we drove to DC, and getting to DC, that feeling of million, 2 million men, it was just more of a feeling that, I mean, you could go back and listen to the videos and the audios, but just the feeling of being there with 1 million, 2 million men, Black men, that's another feeling and another experience that I'd never forget. Hence, coming back from DC, when I got back to Chicago, they fired me, and I lost a little job, but I didn't care about losing that job, brother. Was going to make the march, and I did. And when I left, they told me they fired me, and I was thankful that they did anyway, because I didn't like the job. They wasn't paying me any money. And but the Million Man March experience, the feeling, the spiritual feeling, is another pivotal experience in my life that I'd never forget.
Beautiful. All praise to Allah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, well, let's talk about Chicago and fear. Has there ever been a time when you were faced with fear? And if so, how did you overcome that fear?
You mean, excuse me, sorry, my dog is barking.
I hear.
You said, ask me that again, beloved.
Yes, sir. Fear. Has there ever been a time when you were faced with fear? And if so, how did you overcome that fear?
Brother, I guess fear, for me, fear is a motivator. I never claimed to be, we say we fear none but Allah. And that's true, and that's could be theory. Rocky, come here. That could be theory. But there's been many times in my life that I've been fearful. But I will say this, the minister, I don't remember the time, and he had a lecture called Fear, Faith, and Truth.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And when I was there, and when I heard it, when I went back and listened many times, he talked about facing the fear.
Yes, sir.
And he gave a story about when the brothers, he was walking and doing his morning walk, and it was a pit bull or some bull, and he had to face the pit bull, and he, instead of going away from the pit bull or the bull, he went toward the bull, and the bull went the other way. And so that story that he talked about was very pivotal for me. It was a learning lesson when you hear a cliche say, face your fears. So there's been many things that I've been fearful of, or possibly even afraid, but I learned to face those fears and go toward the thing, and those things disappear. They say, do the thing that you fear, and fear disappears. So there's been many times I've been fearful, but praise be to Allah, I'm still alive and I'm still well. So I obviously overcame those fears.
Beautiful. All praise due to Allah. Yes, sir. Brother Joseph sends a greeting. Sister Audrey from Chicago says, Walaikum salam. And thank everyone who continues to show love to Brother Jamal. Yes, sir. My next question is, in life, what has been your greatest trial and how have you overcome that trial?
You know, there was things that were always put in front of me that I believe that were trials that could easily have made me shirk my duty, or maybe have a negative light on how we move inside the nation. But I always say this, Brother Joshua, when anything, they say, in the beginning, God said, let there be light, right? And they say that we could tap into our God power and ultimately become gods. Hence the fact that we get closer to the light.
Yes, sir.
The closer we are to the light, the more power we have. And so I always told myself, regardless of whom or what that's in between me and the light being the most honorable minister, Lord Farrakhan, I wouldn't allow anything to get in between me and the light. So in my mind, any lieutenant, any captain, any experience, anything, I always said to myself and say to this day that the minister is my lieutenant, my captain, and I'm gonna not allow anything to get in between me and that light. And so it's been many trials and tests, as you would know, just in the life, in life. But again, nothing would allow me to get in between it. I'll tell you this, I'm a business guy and I do a lot of business. And when I was doing some business with a gentleman a couple years ago, and they asked me, because of my presence on social media, and I post things about the minister and the nation and stuff like that. And he asked me, what's your association? What's your affiliation with Louis Farrakhan? And I asked him a question. I said, well, what does my association and affiliation have anything to do with what me and you doing? He said, well, he's known as a hater. I said, well, I don't know anything about that. But what I do know is that he has been very instrumental in my life. And I asked him a question. I said, does my affinity toward him have anything to do, or does it interfere with our business affairs? And he said, no. And we ended that conversation. That is another example of being in the face of fear, or in the face of trial. And I stood up as a man for the man that had given me life indirectly, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Beautiful. All praise to Allah. We definitely have some questions dealing with your business and advice for people who are going into business in just a few moments. My next question for you, sir, is your greatest joy. What has been your greatest joy in life?
I said this last night. So my daughter is in I have two daughters, and I have a 7-month-old and I have an 18-year-old. And I was thinking this last night, and as I was talking to my 18-year-old, and I was looking at my 7-month-old, and I said to myself, those are my reflections. They're me. And so those are my two greatest joys, is to see my 18-year-old daughter, she's in college, she's doing good, to see her reflect me. And then now I have a new baby, she's 7 months old. That's my joy, man. That's my joy, brother, that's my joy.
Beautiful. All praise due to Allah. Yes, sir. And people will continue to show you love. Sister Captain Brenda says, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam, family. And thank you all. Brother Jamal, before we get to your business questions, I have a quick 60-second commercial break. for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast during this month. I want to thank everyone who's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, who gives us random likes, shares, subscriptions, the donations on the Cash App. We greatly appreciate that. If you'd like to be a sponsor or donor, please Cash App the People's Podcast. Thank you very much. My brother Rashad, Street Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out if you need any of his services. My sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me, children's book, coloring book, and Spanish book. All three of which are available on Amazon. My sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country and right here in the studio in Atlanta, Georgia. Rock Communications, if you're working on a book and you need project management, content development, media relations, or copy editing, please reach out to Rock Communications. Fashion Guys, urban streetwear for men and boys. They'll keep you dressed in the best of fashion and dripping in clothes. 314-329-6009. Student Minister Robert L. Muhammad out of Austin, Texas. Conflict mediation, squashing the beef throughout the Southwest region. He does a phenomenal job. His wife is the Foodie Muhammad. Children of the Most High, giving birth to a God, and the science of child rearing. Her book is phenomenal. Please get it. Sister Sherry Muhammad, AsiaticMinds.com. She teaches STEM virtually to young kings and queens all across the country, right here in the studios, right here in all over the world. Brother Kenneth, bow tie maker extraordinaire. He'll ship bow ties to you anywhere in the nation. Dr. Henry Carter, King Henry Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad, COVID-19 disinfecting cleaning services. My father's book of Soldier in the Movement of Christ, AbdulSharif.com. And last but not least, my two books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Right back to our brother Jamaal Muhammad out of Chicago. Okay, boom. And thank you everyone who continues to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, yes, sir. Brother Jamaal, let's talk about business. What advice would you give to people? Well, the first question I have, which me and my siblings often talk about, is everybody made to go into business?
No, I don't think everybody's made it to go into business, but I think business is a part of everything, right? I mean, you might want to go into health, or they might want to be a doctor or lawyer. It's not business per se, but I think having business acumen has a lot to do with people's success in whatever that we do. Yeah, so absolutely.
Okay, great. Yes, sir. Well, what advice would you give to people who do, like some of my sponsors who I just listed, everybody, who, if you already have a business, what advice would you give to taking your business to another level?
Well, the ultimate goal of any business is to acquire new customers. So that's the ultimate goal, is to acquire new customers, and through impacting those people, we can acquire new customers. So regardless of what business, you just named several businesses as sponsors. Well, whether I'm distributing books, or whether one is distributing, doing retail, or it could be a law practice, anything, one has to acquire new customers. And it's funny because I got a lot of that from brother Aaron Muhammad. I used to run with him, and he would mentor me, and he used to have a group called we used to call it mentoring. We were mentoring young men, and I learned a lot of business acumen from brother Aaron, and I get very fascinated with business just by the mere fact of the photo that we would see with the messenger and that briefcase. See, I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be the brother with the briefcase, and I would see brother Kareem and these brothers with briefcases, and I said, I'm gonna be a businessman. And a sister told me one time, Sister Charlene, she told me, she said, Brother Jamaal, she said, the minister don't need more security guards. He need more business people around him. And that was very inspiring to me as a young man. And I'll be 50 years old in a few months. And when I'm at that time, I'm 22, 23 years old. And so I aspired to go into business. And since then, I've been involved with a lot of different businesses. But the point is, regardless of any business, the ultimate goal is to acquire new and more customers. So that's the advice that I would give to anybody, is to have a direct interest in acquiring more customers.
Okay, great. Yes, sir. Well, how can we support and promote, if people want to support your business, what type of business do you do, and how can we find you online?
Well, so by trade, I'm a financial advisor.
Okay.
Okay. So I got into the finance business in the late 90s. I was a financial advisor for Scudder Kemper Investments, Deutsche Bank. At that time, I was a transfer agent, actually. And then I eventually, over time, got my licenses, Series 6, 63, 26. These are all financial licenses where you can share and show people how to invest money, grow their money, things of that nature. So I did that for a while, just for a little while. And then I became an accountant for Cook County. So I did that for a little while, but I was tired of people telling me what to do. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to do for myself. I wanted to be my own boss. So I got into the retirement planning and the insurance industry in 2008. In 2008, I started helping families get the proper life insurance. Statistics say 7,296 people die every day with no life insurance. According to some statistics, 77 million Americans have zero savings as adults, no money saved at all. 2 out of 3 Black people, according to smartmoney.com, have no life insurance. So I took that as a platform to say, the way I'm going to add value to our community is by sharing with people the financial education, teaching people about the rules of money, how to protect your money, how to grow your money, how to protect your family assets, how to pass on generational wealth. And so that's what I do on my day-to-day. I do those things. And I also put people in business, show them how to get licensed by state, whether this state or any other state, to be able to talk to people and share with them the rules of money and things of that nature. That's where I think we're missing in it, where we're missing the boat. Our community, we don't have a religious problem. We don't have a spiritual problem. We don't have any, those are not our primary issues. Our primary issues is when we go into a community, when we don't see businesses that we built, and we don't have businesses that we own and operate in our community. You talk Chicago, you can go to Devon on the north side, the Palestinians run that area. You can go to Taylor Street and the Italians run that area. You can go to Chinatown or Cermak and they run this geographical area. I'm interested in sharing with our people how to become business people where we have trade and commerce and have our businesses and we start to control areas. And one of the primary ways to do that is we have to be financially literate. We have to be financially astute to be able to do that. And that's what I do on a daily basis. Not just give lectures or seminars or talks, but after the lecture, seminar, or talk, actually have products and services to show people how to grow money systematically over a period of time using the rule of 72, compound interest, knowing the IRS codes where you can save money, reduce taxes. I like to talk to the people about those things because a man has to be a man to put food on his table. And that's the business that I'm in, showing men and women alike how to be financially literate and financially educated.
Beautiful. All praise due to Allah. Yes, sir. So is there a website? Should people just reach out to you on Facebook? Like how does that work? If people
So I do have a website called Consumer Capital, Consumer Capital, CONSUMER, capital CAPITAL GRP.com. So consumercapitalgroup.com, consumercapitalgrp.com. You can go to that website and kind of get an overview of some things that we're doing, some of the relationships that we have or that I have as a partner, some of the companies that we do business with. Absolutely.
Praise the Lord. Yes, sir. We just have a few more questions for you. My next question is, musically, what's your favorite album of all time?
Maybe something from Jay-Z, from Jay-Z, probably the Black Album, something like that from Jay-Z.
That's a great one. You can't go wrong with the Black Album. Can't go wrong with the Black Album. That's a great one. Yes, sir. Will you ever write a book on your personal life?
I got a brother of mine. He just started doing business with me again. He was one of my top guys about 10 years ago in the insurance business. And he used to tell me after every meeting, we put 30, 40 people in the room. And, a lot of my bravado kind of learned from the minister. And he would say, man, you should write a book, man. You should write a book and put a stamp on it and sell it for $9.99 on the internet. That's what he used to tell me. And we started doing business again about 2 months ago. He's in Louisiana now. And so I'm thinking about that, not really about my life, like my life is really some big deal, maybe to my daughter or something, it might be big, maybe, or to my own, fake psyche, how I psych myself up. But I don't know if it's something I want to do about my own personal life, but I do want to write a book and put out information that I'm a bridge, Josh, between professional business people, LaSalle Street, Wall Street, and the street corner. I'm a bridge in between that.
Okay.
Now I want people to know that you could be an ex, sell drugs or ex anything that was not gang banging, and you can straighten your life out. Me, I ran into the teachings. People put their arm around me and poured oil in my head. And then you can come from hip hop culture or street culture, but also become a productive stand-up man in the economy or in the society. And I'm interested in being that bridge for younger people, and anybody for that matter. So again, I don't know if I would like to do a book about me because I'm no big shot or anything like that. But I would do a book on the rules of finance, the rules of money, coming from an urban perspective, coming from a regular, average, and ordinary man that was from the concrete jungle, but start to learn about business, and it made me successful. It makes me successful to this day.
Yes, sir. Last two questions. Speaking of the Black Album, one of Jay-Z's favorite famous bars is, "I can't help the poor if I'm one of them. So I get rich and give back. To me, that's the win-win." Is that concept of going away to get money in order to help your people? Is that something that we need to work on more as a culture, or what?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. See, I'm about getting money. I'm just being direct with you. I'm a business guy. I'm about making money. See, brother, what happened with me is I was listening to the minister when he was talking about when he took the power products, but he also talking about Project Exodus. And I remember those moments. I remember those times. And see, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, "If you follow me, I promise you
yes, sir,
wealth, good homes, and friendships in all walks of life." Well, those types of that stuff stick with me, because there's two stories that can be sold and shown. There can be a story shown of poverty, and there could be a story shown of success. And I just know and believe that regardless to whom or what, it takes money. Okay, go tell the mortgage man that you love God, and he gonna tell you to send him his money. Go tell the carnal man that you are a good Muslim and we should be, but he gonna say send him his money. Go tell this is it. The last day of Ramadan. Go tell the light bill man that you fasting and praying and doing more reading of the Quran, but he want his light bill money. Go tell your daughter or your son that you have to do XYZ for the community, but baby need new shoes. So I know that, and no one could share with me more. Now we worship none but Allah. However, they say money isn't everything, but it's up there with oxygen. I'm very money motivated, and I like to share that with people because I know that's the sustenance of a man. A man can't be a man. He can't be the full man, the God that we want to be. Yeah, all God's children of the Most High God without having money. And I'm not talking about, I'm not quantifying the amount. I'm just talking about being productive and being a producing man to be able to take care of food, clothing, and shelter.
Beautiful, excellent teaching. All praises to Allah. Yes, sir. And people will continue to show you love, and I can't wait to put this on YouTube. My last question for you, sir, is, Brother Jamaal, what would you like your legacy to be?
Well, first, I hope that I'm around another 50 years, brother. So,
Yes, sir.
We not promised tomorrow, but I just want to be really known, man, as making my word bond to Allah and being a good father and being productive in our community. I really want to be known for that. I want to be known as being a good father, making my word bond to Allah, and being known as a person of value who added value to our people. I want to be known as a man that they say, man, when I was 15 years old, I used to be at Wendy's on 53rd Street, and me and my partner, his name was Dion, we would sit in Wendy's, and I would talk about what I wanted my life to look like when I became an adult. And I used to say, I want to be able to give jobs to people. That's what I used to say. I want to be able to give jobs. And so if I want my legacy to be, man, he showed us how to be in business for ourselves. He showed us he showed the people he put the people to work. I want to be known for that. I'm actually known for that now, actually, because I do a lot of hiring of people and, recruit people into the financial business, to the insurance business and stuff like that. But that's what I want to be known as, adding value and impact to the lives of our people. If I'm known for that while I'm living, and once I go back to the essence and as being a good father and making my word bond to Allah, that would be sufficient for me.
Beautiful. All praises to Allah. Yes, sir. Well, I want to thank you very much, Brother Jamaal, for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on people's podcasts, teaching us, giving us amazing information as well as inspiration, and teaching us about business acumen and helping us give, as they say, free game. So I want to thank you very much, sir. May Allah continue to bless you and your family and your businesses as well. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother. All right, here we go.